So as a general kind of rule, being in the arts as opposed to the medicine, my first sort of thoughts is, what can you get out of the language of diseases? So the first thing I kind of looked into was, how everybody complained whenever Donald Trump called COVID the China virus. It was like the China virus. Yeah, it comes from China. Anyway, and everybody said, no, it's terrible, him doing that. Naming the diseases after the alleged origin is kind of racist, and it's dangerous to the people from the country that it's named after. There were backlash against Chinese people for that, and in the previous pandemic, the Spanish flu, there'd been a backlash against the Spanish for that. So now it's kind of a frowned upon thing. We don't do that anymore. We don't, it's not done to name a pandemic after where it comes from. But the interesting thing is was very popular. For example, the Spanish flu, even though the flu didn't come from Spain, it was kind of detected there first, and so they named it the Spanish flu. And then, of course, Ebola is named after a river in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Really?
Yeah, and syphilis was very first called the American pox. So, yeah, all of that is my fact.
Oh,
The whole thing.
Well, I don't know why we both researched a bit of syphilis in this one.
Did you? Did you deep dive on the syphilis?
Look, there's a picture of a guy's willy, even on Wikipedia.
No, I didn't look up pictures, though.
I didn't look up pictures. I'm just saying on Wikipedia.
They just happened to be there.
Yeah, there was a scroll down, guy's willy.
All right.
Oh,
right.
shame. With a bit of.
I mean, that's basically the rule of the internet, isn't it? You scroll down far enough, there's going to be a guy's willy. It's like...
So I'm going to call bullshit on your opening fact, based on. Ebola, a river in the Congo. I'm not sure, but it sounds right. And then Spanish flu. Well, I think was it your first fact? But no, syphilis was called. It was called many things. It might have been called American disease, so I might be wrong here. But it was
American pox, yeah. Because
pox.
It originally came from South America. It originally, yeah.
Well, yeah. There's talk of Christopher Columbus actually bringing it. Shame, but
Naughty,
that's
naughty boy.
That's so controversial because the whole thing was the Europeans definitely took a disease there.
Yeah. They took a few. Smallpox being the biggest one.
Did they bring some from there, or is that just them trying to,
well,
in hindsight,
it does seem pretty clear cut that there's no syphilis, and then syphilis sort of starts, and it does make the most sense that it could have come from South America. But look, at the time, people believed it did come from South America. So,
South America.
Yeah.
No, the reason I didn't see American pox, but I did see the French and Germans calling it. I mean, the English and the Germans calling it the French disease, and then there was another nation who called it their neighbor's kind of disease.
I think you got it anyway. I'm gonna give it to you. You're absolutely you're on top of it. Yeah, the nicest thing about it is that the English called it the French disease, the French called it the Spanish disease, the Germans called it the French evil, the Russians called it the Polish disease, the Poles called it the Turkish disease, Turks called it the Christian disease, and the Japanese called it the Chinese pox. So there you are. It's basically everybody just named it after their enemies.
So much for love thy neighbor.
Yeah, no, as soon as you're like, those bastards, their filthy ways. And I'd imagine that's what French kissing got named after as well. Because,
shame.
Look, that thing they do with their tongues? Disgusting. Shameful. But yeah, there you go. So that's So the thing is that when you hear a name before a flu or before a pandemic, the chances are it's probably an insult rather than any kind of real indication of where it came from or why it's
People, good grief, man.